I know that many people have looked at me, my style. They think I've got mental problems. I do have mental problems. I probably could have been diagnosed with ADD as a kid. 1966. My mother put me on meds. What in the world just happened there? Wow, the screen just went poof and then came back. Well, hopefully I'm broadcasting. That was really strange. If anybody can hear and see me, please hit a thumbs up. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. There we go. Thank you. So, we've always made jokes about insane asylums, mental institution, mental health institution where they check people in and they keep them in there. But are they on the outside now? Is the mental institution our country? I go to work and just the dynamics of 21 people is diverse as all get out. You got an older man, he's a couple years older than me, African American, not friendly. I don't know what his problem is. I mean, I've noticed that he says hi to all the brothers and the sisters, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about all the different people involved. Never says hi. And when he calls my name, hey, yells like I'm some dirty dog. And I'm getting tired of it. And it doesn't matter what place I've worked. There is a foundational belief that you have to realize, men or women in any place you work in America, if it doesn't offend the management, it won't get dealt with. It has to piss off or offend management, or it won't get dealt with. What bothers you will only be dealt with if it bothers management. That's foundational to any workplace. We got all these laws against harassment, making it a hostile work environment. Talk to people all across this country. Almost every place out there is a hostile work environment, and they don't do anything about it. Because if they like this person or things are getting done and the money's rolling in, they don't care about you. That's a fact. Got two people at my workplace. Both of them are complete opposite each other. One's a white Christian. One is a black Democrat. I'm number 2 oldest. He's number 1 by 2 years. The other day, what is today? He come in the place Wednesday. He come up to our warehouse, and I'm like, what in the world? And he's limping, and hobbling over the time clock. And yesterday he comes in and he's jumping around, and they gave me that new medicine, and oh yeah, I'm ready. I'm invincible. And I'm like, why do I detect acting to get out of work yesterday? Why? Why do I feel like the theatrics? I wouldn't dare say it verbally, but my mind's going, there's no way medicine can stop excruciating back pain. Supposedly has a problem with that. I have tried to be nice. My pastor's always said, if you want friends, be friendly. That does not work in America today. One thing I've learned, when people are very, very nice to you, they want something or they have a motive. In this culture, they used to say, if you have one good friend, you're rich. Now on Facebook and social media, I get all these likes. Whee! That means squat. I did a video the other night, fickle pickle. People are fickle as HE double hockey sticks. That's a fact. I'm 60. I moved to Georgia 7 years ago. Augusta is not the best place for a guy like me to land, but God brought me here. I don't know what he's doing. I'm not even going to try to figure it out. He has provided for me. I wanted a house. I got a house, but I don't have anything else. I mean, I have a job. I have no social life here. I will not be friends with anybody at work because they're all dirtballs. All. We have a guy that looks almost Russian. He's not. From Louisiana, and I train him on the pack table. He's an odd chap. Got the beard. Most of these people smoke. Goes out and smokes. Well, he's working in another department now. He built me a really nice shelf behind the pack table so we could clean up the mess. And yesterday I went to him. I don't chit chat with him. I mean, if you ask him any personal questions, he's like a woman. I don't answer any questions. If it doesn't have to do with work, I don't want to talk about it. And I learned that from day one. Okay, then. Came up to him because my supervisor said, see if you can get him to help you with some of the pick tickets. Because the guy that was working with me is in jail. We have no idea when he's coming out, if he's coming out, and if he'll even show up, and if the company will even keep him employed. I said, hey. And he had told everybody what his nickname was. And we all call him that. Then one day that angered him. And we had a meeting Wednesday, 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you all knew this, but his name is this, but it's minus O, and he doesn't want to be called that. And I went up to another guy in his department. I said, he told us, he goes, I know. He said, I said, got you. And he's been acting weird. I came to him and he's very pensive and stern. Does it have to do with work, Mike? Yeah. Are you really busy or are you able to help me with the pick tickets? No, I'm not going to be able to do that. And I finally said to my supervisor, I said, the mental institution is us. We need a CCTV in here and put that on the television and make a show. Warehouse, Scarehouse. The guy that's our shipping clerk, I said he'd be a great fit. He's now becoming moody and rude. The guy in receiving definitely has mental derangement going on. I think I figured out what it is. The guy working for him failed the drug test twice and they let him go. He was getting stuff done though. He was a good worker. And the receiving guy's pissed. And somebody said something to me about Trump. I said, no, I don't agree with the statement he made to Iran that he's going to wipe them off the earth or whatever. I said, that's not okay. Clown heard me. And one of the comments made by another shipping clerk for international freight, he's black. He said, oh, he thinks he's going to eat dinner with Trump. He thinks Trump's going to come into his house and eat dinner with him. I said, you know, the sad thing is, I don't care what president you go for, they ain't going to sit down and eat with us. He said, exactly. I took the Trump sticker off my truck because people are stupid. And I don't agree with everything he's doing. I have no regrets voting him. None. Kamala Harris was truly the definition of incompetent, and she had no business running a Kool-Aid stand, let alone the country. That's another dynamic. The fact you had so many people voting for her proves that we are a legit mental institution. I have to vote either tonight or tomorrow. We don't have council members. They're commissioners. And the commissioner of this area, I called him on a neighborhood problem. He never got back to me. Never. And I left a message. I said, clearly, you're only interested in African-American issues and you don't want to represent somebody who lives in your area. He still didn't get back to me. And now a black woman's running against him saying he hasn't solved any of the problems, done anything about anything. The city's lost $16.4 million and nobody's opened their mouth about it. Well, I'm not going to lie. Because of what I've seen in Augusta, I'm not interested in voting in the dynamic here because they're not changing things for the better. And I don't have racism. And I don't believe white would do a better job. But here they put an emphasis on get out the black vote. And they get in office, they make big money, and nothing changes. Now, to be fair, whites do the same thing. And it sucks. You know, management, the owners, they got money, they got wives, they got new Teslas, new trucks, new houses over in North Augusta. And Mike, what are you going to do this weekend? I don't know. Do you go anywhere? Yeah, the flea market. You should go travel. You should do this. Y'all should mind your own business. Have you seen the way people drive? I've always been bold. I went to Hong Kong. I went to the Philippines. I went around the world. But as I get older, caution sets in like the setting of the sun. If you read in Ecclesiastes, it talks about a descriptive of one aging. It's very sobering. Where the grinders cease and the lights are dim, talking about your vision failing, your teeth fall out, and the bones tremble. Ooh, I don't want to get old, God. No. I want to be Ponce de Leon and find the fountain of youth, and I have. Not me, but God blessed me with metabolism. But I am getting older. And it's starting to hit me. You're in a bad spot. Augusta's not a good place to be alone. I just take one day at a time. Part of me's banking on, I hope the rapture happens in my life. Doesn't matter where I go, because I'm nice and I'm different. Even the shipping clerk, who I thought would be a good fit, he made some dig when I was telling him something, and I said, "Really? Why are you gonna be an ass to me?" It was a friend of mine in Denver, rather a coworker. Michael, are you familiar with the dynamic of three? No. You get three people together, two will always gang up on the other. That has been the way it's been all my life. And I'm like, what is it about me that I've got a target or something? Michael, you know the answer to this. You're a Christian. Most people doing this are not saved. Number two, you are genuine. They can't deal with that. Number three, you're nice and you don't have a motive. They can't understand that. And I asked the other day, what do you do when you have a Christian raised in a Christian environment, in a Christian school? And they let him drive that takes some tires, lots of tires, and they dispose of them, and they have to pay a fee to do that. And he took the truck with the trailer, and I'm thinking, why did they let him do that? He doesn't do shit all day, except a couple keystrokes on a computer and tape something and move something. And I'm working my butt off. Give me that job. I'm gone for 3 hours. You ever have those days where you're ready to just go Mount Pinatubo? That if that David come up and said something to me, I would have said, let me tell you something. I watch how rude you are to me, and I watch how you're nice to everybody else. I don't like you. Stay away from me. Don't yell at me like a dog. If you want to talk to me with respect, then we have a place to start. Get away from me! I mean, I will go off on him. I've had it. I don't like this place. It sucks. It's a job. And I thank God for a paycheck. There's no dignity for people like me in this America. 60 years has taught me that. 60 years. And I have to be strong. I have no choice. I could become mental and go get on the system like everybody else is doing today. You know how many people do that? I know a young lady rode my bus, high school student. I got involved with the family because she said, look, I'm going to give you my number. My mom's fine with it. And you can come over to the house and meet my folks. And I did. They lived in the projects in Denver, and I took her and her brother out to the movies, out to dinner. Appropriate. Nothing inappropriate. The mother liked me. The mother was very kind. And this young lady was pretty. And I watched her through the years gain weight. I watched her say, well, I've got mental problems. I can't get a job. I said, man, there's nothing wrong with you, Kelly. Nothing. Go to work. She's on freaking Social Security with mental disability. I don't want to be there. And it just amazes me when I see the crap I got to deal with. And I go to work and I give my all, and rude comments are made, and I'm going to start say, hey, man to man, don't do that. I don't like it. It's disrespecting me. Stops today. And if he gets mad, I can go to HR and we can go there, or we can deal with it man to man. I've done nothing to you. I wanted you in this position. Now you're going to be a little butthead to me? Knock the shit off. And I'm tired of it. I feel like I have no authority in this age. You got an 11-year sadistic troll on this channel that somebody needs to take this and go, BAM! Take the face and push it out the back of his head. That is the only thing fitting. My pastor said, a fool. The Bible says, punch him in the nose. I wish somebody would. I wish somebody'd show up at his house, grab him, knock him down, and say, get off Mike's channel. I get frustrated as a Christian when you got trolls and you got people, you don't like the way I dress, get the hell off of my channel. What is wrong with people? You go to work. I work my butt off. I went yesterday, I had to get this order shipped or ready for shipping. This, 3 pallets of this, another pallet of that. And then the clerk says, Mike, and he shows the paper. I said, put that in the thing. I'm busy right now. And he's irritating. He's just like that guy that got fired. Hey, Mike. Now I just walk away from him. I continue doing what I do. There's ways to train people. Ignore him. Don't respond. Go on your mission. Come back. What did you need, sir? He's still not getting it. The collective intelligence in Augusta is probably the lowest in the freaking country. And people call me retarded. My brain works. I go to work and I bust it out. Today's First Friday and our supervisor's going to be cooking, and he cooks mean on the grill. He said, my dream is to have a food truck. I said, what's stopping you? He said, myself. He said, I would hire you to run grill and do stuff. I said, that's awesome. But I'm going to say it. I'm not poor me. I'm a man. And I've dealt with this all my life. Bullying, teasing, belittling. I've always been the small guy. I have to have guys half my age. A flywheel that's 150 pounds. I can move it, but it's like, he just comes and goes, and then he brags, yep, I lifted weights. I was on the football team. I said, dude, look at your size. This is called no contest. Ask for your help, not to get a demonstration of your ego. Let's you and I have a running race. Let's you and I have an energy race. Let's you and I have a race across the board. You'll win me in the strength department, but I will blast past you and everything else. Always talking about your little racial issues. That's all you see around here. Racism is in the forefront of these people's minds. It's like, man, I'm here working. What does this white guy have to do with your injustice about whites? I work harder than any of y'all. We got a guy in the paint booth. He's young and he's coal black. The happiest young guy I've ever seen. I did shout outs to him on the weekly survey. I've gone to management. Nobody shouted him out. I said to one of the owners, I said, why are they not shouting out Tim? That guy's happy, does good work. Every time I take something to paint, his painting is flawless. He goes, you're right. The only shout out with management. I said, well, how about us recognizing? He goes, no, I'm going to start doing that. And I went up to him. I said, I gave you a shout out, man, because I said, you're always positive and upbeat. Every day. He fist bumps me. He goes, he's not one of those racist blacks. He comes in with a good attitude. He's in the paint smelling fumes and messy all day. He came and brought his little girl to work. He had to come in and said, I know I got the day off and I had to show him a thing and I got to watch my child. And the guy's upbeat. And Michael takes the time to compliment people. And you got a guy in receiving who's dour. The bed of his truck has all this crap in it. I don't even know what it is, just junk. The bumper's tore off. The back end's damaged of a classic square body Chevy. That's not his fault. It's somebody else's fault. He hit a bridge too fast on ice, went like this in the other lane. Somebody hit him, but it's his fault. It's that other guy's fault. You lost control on ice, went into oncoming traffic, and it says, well, he could have stopped, just like you could have stopped, not spun on the bridge, huh? We live in a mental institution. I work with mentally ill fucking people. Pardon my French. And I said it to my supervisor. I said, I don't care what these cats think of me. We got some mental tools in here. The guy in receiving would not be hireable anywhere else. And yet somebody, one of the owners, always talks and what do they see in this guy? Life is unfair. Life is not a highway all night long. It is unfair all day long. And I tell you what, when Jesus said, marvel not that the world hates you, that is how I get my confirmation. I am not of this world because I don't fit in anywhere I go in America or Hong Kong or the Philippines. This world is not your friend as a Christian. And I'm not perfect. And people look at me, why do you dress this way? Why do you do that? Why does it matter to you? But let's talk about the work. Because whether you're Christian or not, you all got your horror stories to tell. Why is it that the workplace tries to break you? Why do they treat us like slaves? People say, you're not a slave, you get paid. Yes, we do. I am proud of what I do. It's hard work. I even told the shipping guy, I said, what if I won $2 million and I gave you $1 million and me $1 million? Would you keep working? Well, Mike, is that after tax? I said, after tax. You can't live on $1 million. I said, I can. He told me I'd buy a pickup, an SUV, and a nice car. I said, yep, there you go. Waste it all. I'd buy a classic pickup truck. That's it. That's it. And it would not be a new Silverado at $80,000. I could buy a restored Chevy 350 straight exhaust out under the bed, a maroon red with dark, black on the hood, tinted windows, and that thing would just idle. All I'd have to do is put it in gear and it'd go, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, I mean, I'd have a Cherry. I wouldn't buy a mansion. I'd leave Augusta. I would get out of here. Where would you go? I don't know. Probably go visit a foreign country for a while and clear my head. I'm sorry. I thank God for the freedom of this country and I thank God for the Constitution. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of deranged people in American society, and we work with them and they drive cars and they got rights to vote and they get a driver's license, and that's scary. And they're worried about damn guns. Have you seen the way people drive? I've got a greater chance of getting injured or killed by a bad motorist than somebody running around with a gun. That's a fact. Some woman got on my channel the other day. I did that song, Feel It Still. Love it because it's got 1966 in it, my birth year. And it's got some of the words of the song that embody me. And I'm walking in the yard and she goes, I'm a proud Republican and our leader would not even acknowledge you. Wow, I'm supposed to be hurt by that? I already said it. Trump ain't going to talk to me. No president's going to condescend to me. We're a caste system, people. We vote for these guys, but they're not going to, Trump is not going to sit down and have dinner at my house. This is too humble for him. My kitchen's not even done remodeled. They're not going to come in here. Michelle Obama, when she said, I don't understand why whites don't move to black neighborhoods. Bring the CNN vans and the satellite dishes, put them up on the pole and park in front of my house. Come on, Miss Obama. My house ain't fancy, but I will give you a cup of tea. We'll sit down and talk about it. One thing you got to notice about our people in this country, Michelle is not going to talk to me. Trump is not going to come under my roof. What they do is photo ops. And that's how Americans are deceived, both sides of the fence. Michelle's not going to sit down and say, Mr. Nelson, I'm impressed. You moved to a mostly black community and you wanted to find out about us, and my hat's off to you. No, that's never going to happen because it doesn't fit the narrative. This country's jacked up, and it's going to continue to stay jacked up. I got to vote for trash one or trash two. We don't have leaders anymore because everybody wants to be a boss. The guy in receiving, one of the owners wanted to make him in charge, and I'm like, what are you thinking? That's not leadership. Nobody likes working with him except the guy that was on crack. Hello? I am not demeaning my boss. The president hired me specifically, and the supervisor says I never would have hired you because all he did was drive. And I said, he goes, Mike, he said, I've noticed when people come in here, they'll be at about 80% the first couple days. He said, you were at 100% and you stayed there. And he said, I had to admit, this guy works harder than I do. He said, I was wrong in my assessment and I'm glad the president hired you. I wouldn't have hired you. And he said, I'm begging you, don't ever leave. I take it one day at a time. And when I was walking between warehouses, I said, Lord God, you have the capability of moving heaven and earth. I'm not asking for riches. I'm not asking for limousines and McMansions. But it'd really be nice if you take somebody somewhere in the world that says, I want that guy. And I said this out loud yesterday. I would gladly be a slave to the right master. If I had a boss who said, I will hire you, you got a guest cottage, I'm going to pay you a good salary, and you're going to enjoy working for me. Let's go. But instead, I said, this is slavery. I'm working my butt off with irritating people that make jokes at my expense. Well, if I didn't like you, I don't joke with you. Yeah, haha, I get that. I'm telling you, we'll never make America great. That's delusional. That's not even bucket list reality. And I'm against MAGA because it's a cult. I voted for Trump, but I'm not part of the cult. I think for myself, and he's not doing a good job with Iran. That was a major fatal mistake to the Republican Party. He just gave all the cannon fodder to the leftists that they needed to win another election. That's disgusting. We had no business. He bragged his first term that there were no wars, and he went and declared one. Congratulations, Mr. President. You done effed up. And I would say it to Trump's face. I know Trump has no love for nobody. I stood on him because he's against illegal immigration and unfair trade practices with China, but now he's lost the plot. I do not agree with these assassination attempts. All that does is prove that everybody on the left belongs in a mental health facility. I say the truth, both sides of the fence. I'm tired of America being either A or B. It's the pendulum tick-tock clock. Tick-tock. And every time it swings this way, wreckage. It swings this way, wreckage. Never comes to center. Never runs the country. Never balances the budget. Never tries to make peace with our enemies. Never tries to fix our screwed up school system teaching kids it's okay to be trans. That has no place in American education. Evolution has no place in American education. It is a lie that is unsubstantiated. There is not one scientific shred of evidence that proves that we just evolved from slime. Nothing. The fossil record is a record of complete life forms. The living record does not show half in-betweens. Ha! 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 You want evidence? Look at people. You got kids claiming they're dogs and people wearing little clip-on tails and bat ears and everything else, but you didn't have those. Where's the proof? Where's the beef? Leaders don't become leaders by being bossy butts. I've noticed something over the years. The ones that make good leaders are the ones that say, I don't want that. The ones that want the leadership, run. People say you'd make a good president. No, I wouldn't. I would not want to run this country. No, I don't. I don't want my life under a microscope, even though I put myself and my flaws out here. America's in trouble, folks. Look at the young people. I'm on meds. I'm ADD, ADHD, ABCDEFG, HIJ, KLMNO, LGBTQRSTUV. I mean, we got letters for everything. Our country is coming apart from stem to stern. This thing is broken in half, and the bow's going down, and the stern's going down, and everybody's going, we're going to make it great again. You hit the reef, buddy. The ship's cracked in half. We are so divided. That is never going to change because the left indoctrinates the left to believe that everybody's systemically racist. Did you see what they did during COVID? Woo! Proof that people can be grabbed under control by clowns. Remember Justin Trudeau up in Canada? This is the Great Reset. Did you notice that Zuckerberg suddenly was in the forefront having little chats with his wife and an expert on COVID? Oh, I didn't know Zuckerberg was a medical doctor. He wasn't. Bill Gates, too. He an MD? No, he's a tech king. We all should have known something was wrong. And the U.S. hasn't been the same. But America's polarized. And one thing I've seen in 60 years, nothing is going to change that. We keep hearing, oh, more and more people are coming to the Republicans. Then why is it there's this huge voting bloc that keeps voting stupid every time? I'm so tired of hearing things. Oh, he looks so presidential. Let me tell you something. I don't care if the guy's dressed like this. Can you run the frickin' country? And that's the problem with America. As long as I got my suit and tie, let me tell you about a good thing. Yeah, it's all about how you dress. It's not about this. It's not about whether you have the backbone and the fiber and the moral character. Look at all the people wearing suits and ties get caught in the hands in the cookie jar, multiple affairs, Weinstein and Epstein and all these others and the clowns all around us that fall. Big name preachers in millionaire mansions and millionaire bank accounts. Yeah, it is a fact. But then we got this. I drove school bus for 20 years. This in South Carolina yesterday. What the hell? That's the front end of a conventional bus with a hood out front. Contract bus company, not the school district. Hit a railroad bridge, probably at 55, 60. Tore the roof off above the driver's seat and back several rows of seats. Yes, we make mistakes, but I drove buses nearly 20 years and you try to pay attention to clearance. Then you got this. I'm going to say something and it's going to get me in trouble. America, I've lived in a lot of white towns and we got kids that look just like that. Bowl haircuts, beady little eyes, no light on inside. And what did they do? Somewhere in some state, they took a riding lawnmower, went right through the front doors of Target and did major damage. And the girls are videoing them giggling and laughing. Seems like all these teens can do is just get in trouble. You're going to make America great? Take a good look at those two kids. Smart asses, jerks. America's full of that. Full of that. I'm not even going to talk about the other ethnicity. I drove a bus down here and that's almost a lost cause. America's supposed to be the greatest nation on earth, and I do not believe that anymore. That is a lie. I believe in the Constitution. But I'm starting to see that politicians are just like my coworkers. They're liars. They think they're the top, la creme, la creme. They don't accurately see themselves. They lie to us. They steal our vote, steal our heart, steal our money. And every time that this happens, Americans get more and more disillusioned. Somebody already told me, I'm done. I'm not voting anymore. That means a win vote for the worst ones. These politicians are out of touch. Mob Rules, one of my moderators said $5.10 a gallon for gas near Toledo, where he lives. Trump did that. Trump did that. You want to get the little Biden thing? Get the Trump and point to the gas price. You guys all did that with Biden. Now do it for Trump. I'm sick of this. I work for a living. I don't joyride. I use my truck to go to work, church, and run errands. I don't cruise like I used to. So I keep my gas down to a minimum. I top off my tank once every 2 weeks. Minimal miles. I haven't lowered my policy premium because I don't put on more than 5,000 miles a year. Pay attention to that, people. If you're not putting 5,000 miles on your daily driver, tell your insurance, they'll lower it because you're not at risk. That's why I got Deuce and Half insurance so cheap for a big 14,000 pound truck when I had it. You're not putting on more than 5,000 miles. I have been teased and bullied most of my life, and it never goes away. People try to play tough. They put up the drawbridge. They have this exterior. And what's funny is I can see everybody in my workplace, and the ones that are doing a good job are not getting the praise. The ones that are getting the praise, once again, are the ones that are the greatest liability to the place. And I'm so tired of every workplace I work at, you got one butthole being a butthole. And this is what you get when you try to follow due process and complain. Well, you got to understand him. That's just, well, he got to understand me. If you want to be a butthole to me, I'm going to be a butthole back. Are you going to back me when I stand up? When my manhood rises up and says, I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're 2 years older than me. You're a foot shorter than me. You're the little engine that could, and you come at me like that and you expect me to respect you. I've already been told you don't care about me or anybody else. I don't got to take that. Boo! Why do we treat people like that on eggshells all through our society? Every workplace is the same. You got turds in the toilet that are a problem. Fire them. They're toxic. Get rid of them. Where's leadership? And it dawns on me. Another black guy there said, I worked here over a year ago and I just pay attention. And when you see what goes on, you see what this is all about. They hire people that are homeless. They hire people that got out of jail. They keep people in this job because nobody else will do it for that pay. And then on Wednesday, we all meet for lunch and we thank God for our food and we're going to have a prayer. And the owners are Christians and they have a preacher in there. And guess what? There are other companies here. The reason I don't apply is they're extremely hard to get on. And they seem to be caught up in that DEI hiring. They pay more, but you got to work 12-hour shifts and then you shift rotation. Why is it that working for Christians is not any better than non? It should be. Especially when I see the tickets and I see what they're selling these items for. I'm like, the Bible says something in the book of James, and it's weird because it's a random. James has a flow talking about Christian conduct and do not think it strange, the fiery trial, count it all joy, don't show partiality, stop the cursing, you're a Christian, have good speech, don't, and then out of nowhere, woe to you, Richmond, weep and howl, for the miseries that shall come upon you. These politicians, think about the money that's wasted. I mean, it's just flushable toilet money for campaigning. Millions of dollars that could have actually helped people. No, it's just so one person and their ego can win that office. We got a black woman running for my district. I'm going to vote her in because the black guy has done nothing. I mean, that's where it's at. I don't want a woman in authority, but it's gotten so bad. If she can do a better job, then let's go. Margaret Thatcher was one of the best prime ministers of England as a woman. I had respect for her. She was a respectable woman. Look at Starmer. Put Starmer and Margaret Thatcher side by side, and it's disgusting that most men today are not leadership capable. And the reason that feminism got a stronghold in America is because men did it. Remember that, boys. You out there with your lift kit truck going, I'm a badass. You screwed up, women. I lay that at your feet. You bowed to them. You treated them like deity. Now they're narcissists, materialistic, and most people can't get a date with a hottie anymore because you're not worthy. Men did that. And men are still driving around in their twat. I'm a badass because I spent $30,000 for an extended lift. Retarded. America's not going to change. It's not changing now. Things aren't getting any better now. Well, Mike, they tried to stop illegal. For now, as soon as the Democrats, they'll open the floodgates of hell again. You haven't solved a problem. Each time the pendulum on that grandfather clock swings, it bashes the wood cabinet on the left, bashes it out on the right, and then the glass breaks and it goes, bong, time for another election. Oh, let's swing this way this time. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, now we got a chance to get the Republicans. Bam, bam, bam. Ding, dong, ding. One of these days, this clock's going to blow up. I'm sorry. Let's call it what it is. One bird, two wings. I get it. Clowns to the left of us, jokers to the right. And the idolizing of Trump, I saw it. It made me sick. Comparing him to Jesus Christ. Trump chose Paula White, a woman, a crazy woman who has no business being a pastor. The Bible says, I do not permit a woman to teach or have authority over men. The overseer must be the husband of one wife. He must rule his family. He must have a good, he is the only pronoun used. And we are going to reinvent the wheel because a woman that's feelings-based is going to say, well, I can be a pastor, not according to the word of God. You're not going to make America great. And when they're comparing Trump to Jesus Christ, I thank God that Jesus Christ is not like Donald Trump. That would be depressing because his bedside manner sucks. And some of you Republicans that have left some hate on my channel, put your head between your knees, grab your butt cheeks, and inhale through that sphincter and suck your head up in there because that's where it is anyway. I'm going to be fair. I will never vote Democrat. But you got some dumb cult-like conservatives, dumb cult-like Christians that will not be unique. You all follow a cookie-cutter bunch of crap. I talk about the word of God with power and passion. Most preachers in the church, it's like listening to wah, 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 wah. They're not changing their congregation. They got an aging Geritol Plavix set that isn't changing the world. The only churches that are growing are the ones preaching health, wealth, and prosperity. Where are men that are leaders in the pulpits? Y'all worried about suit and tie and Bible college and degrees and, these big name preachers that even I respected. Look at who attends their congregations. Upper six-digit figure middle-class Christians. You'll never see me and blue collar in there. What are we doing? No one's representing the Jesus class. The carpenters, the plumbers, the hotel maids, the truck drivers, the restaurant servers, the concierge desk, the drywallers, the framers. Where's our representation? We don't have it. We don't have it in the pulpit. We don't have it in Washington. And our employers treat us like damn slaves. If something bothers and offends you, too bad. But if it makes the boss mad, watch out. Heads are going to roll. I finally get it. That is the Bible of all leadership in any place, Christian or not. If it doesn't bother me, Mike's just going to have to learn to deal with it. If I was to act like Dave and bark and bite at everybody, would they give me the same wide berth? No, because I'm white. That one. I tell you what, I'd be rolling a metal cart with wet steel wheels, and it makes a lot of noise on the concrete, and I love that. And I go. And this guy thinks he's a tough guy. He doesn't walk as fast as me, and I'm going. He'll suddenly stand aside and glare at me as I walk by. I don't even look. I just go. Then somebody said they're intimidated by your work ethic. And then I guess he told somebody, that cart's loud and it bothers me. Oh, the cart's loud and it bothers you, but you're yelling at everybody and you say hi to all the brothers. Good, I'll do it even more. I'll put some giant differentials on there and rumble past you again. It's funny how people are wired. And I'm not saying this about the leadership of my company, but a lot of the people that work in there, wow, they make What About Bob look real good. I'm beginning to see that we're coming apart. I have some oddities about myself, I admit it. But when I go to work, I do 110%. And I just try to do my job well. I try to keep up. Even my supervisors say, Mike, breathe. I'm breathing, but I got to get this done. Most people aren't driven that way. I'm going to say something that'll shock everybody, but it's time. Oops. I don't want to move into a town that's all of that right there. I've lived in places like that. You know, people say, Mike, you live in a black community. Isn't that scary? No more scary than living in a town with the bulk of teenagers acting like those two. You think white kids don't murder and kill and tear up people? God brought me to Augusta, even though it's not the greatest place, to show me something. America's effed. From LA, where I grew up, to Hibbing, Minnesota, to Augusta, Georgia, to Akron, Ohio, to Spokane, Washington, it's jacked up. And no matter where you go, crime, rudeness, you know, people pick the top 10 places in America to live. They're crap. They rate that on how much money you make and the lifestyles of the rich and famous. They don't rate it on us. The politicians don't talk about us. They talk about the unions and the teachers and the middle class. What about the working class? Companies maximizing their profits while shoosting their working class. It's crazy. And yesterday I was discouraged. I went into D warehouse. There was nobody in there, and I just said, God, I need you because I'm ready to blow today. No, not postal. I'm just ready to go, you know what? When I feel that rising up where I want to say F you, I have to grab something and say, God, I need you because there's some foul stuff wanting to come out right now. I'm sick of being treated like a dirty dog by these losers. You got people that carry themselves in such a way they think they're the definition of the grand kahuna. Dude, you drink, you smoke, all these smokers. Management isn't doing a thing about that. They take extended break after break after break after break with their damn addiction. Make me boss. I'm going to call them all and say, I'm going to tell y'all something now. You will smoke on your break. We're not doing extended smoking breaks. If you're that addicted, you need to go get help. You're here to work. You get 2 breaks, 15 minutes each, you get an hour lunch. If you can't make a 2-hour shift, first shift of the day, without a cigarette, and you can't wait an hour and 45 to lunch, and an hour and 45 or 2 hour to your next break, an hour and 45 to quit, you got a problem. Not to mention they throw their butts all over the place. Litterbug, filthy, stinky pigs. Does this have to do with work? He comes up to me, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, does this have to do with work? You know what I learned about myself yesterday when I walked in and unlocked the front door of my house? I said, I don't have guile in me. It's really hard for me to be mean. It's really hard for me to be hateful and mean. I have to work at it. But I'm getting to a point where I have to show the backside of me, the business side. I may have to turn around and say, yo, I'm sensitive about that kind of shit. Don't joke with me that way. Okay? I have done nothing but give you respect. And if you want me to lose it real fast, keep doing that. Because if I leave, you're going to have to do more work. Bahal. So you better wipe the crap off your ASS and get it together. And what bothers me is yesterday I said, God, I feel like a slave, and I don't like it. And people complain about slavery. What if there's a billionaire? He said, I saw your YouTube channel. You're an interesting chap. And I've heard about your work ethic. I got a lot easier work for you, and I'll pay you well. And I've even got a guest cottage you can live in. It's on the grounds. You're going to see a for sale sign, and I'm out the door. We're all slaves, folks. Black or white, Asian or Hispanic. As a Christian, we're either we're slaves of God. If you're not a Christian, you're automatically on Satan's plantation. If you are not a Christian, you are a slave of Satan. Well, I don't believe in that. Again, you're a slave of Satan. Well, I'm an atheist. You're a slave of Satan. Keep telling yourself the same old lie which your father, the devil, is telling you. There is a God and there is a devil, and I've seen them both. And I see the devil every day I go into work. I see the devil every day on the roads. And I see the devil in the store. I see the devil in the church. And I see the devil in people. I see the devil in a guy that's not walking in Jesus and yet grew up in a Christian environment. Yeah, the devil is running around, folks, all day, all night, nonstop. You see it in all the trolls on here. People say there is no God. You don't have a shred of proof. You don't either want to bet. The struggle I go through is proof there's a devil and there's God. Because I know when I got saved in 1985, my popularity went out to sea. Marvel not that the world hates you. A student is not above his teacher. And I complained to God. I said, I'm tired of being treated like a useless servant. We don't like that, do we? We're Americans, damn it. The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. They do every day. They affect your bank account. They affect your bottom line. Your president that we all voted for, not we all, but the majority and the college electoral and the majority vote. Democrats really hated that one. He raised your gas prices up. And your food prices haven't come down. And things aren't going so much better, are they? My challenge to every conservative, Christian, and Republican, stop playing the same game the Democrats make and start admitting there's problems in his leadership. He doesn't know how to talk to people. Trump acts like a spoiled rich kid sometimes. Who was that? Richie Rich comic books. And who was the rich cousin that used to come over? He was a spoiled little brat attitude. And I voted for Trump because he's not politically correct. I don't want a political correct leader. I'm so tired of Washington and the media and everything be governed by how you dress. And you know what? What I'm more concerned about is what is going on inside the engine room of the heart. And America's lost touch with that. Oh, he looks so presidential. Yeah, as he scoos the pooch, wipes out your retirement and your savings. And now you got to pay $80 a gallon for gas. But he looks presidential. You know what? You can take that suit and tie crap, you can wad it up and throw it in the burn barrel. I need leaders, and we don't have them. I need leadership, and we don't have them. People that follow Jesus Christ. My pastor who tells the truth on Sunday morning, that's a leader. This stuff in Washington's a dog and pony show, and I'm sick of it. Tired of it. It's a lie. I'm tired of, oh, you work for a Christian company. That's different. The only thing that I get out of that is they bring in a different preacher every Wednesday, and I get to hear the word at lunch. But this isn't an easier job. I'm not getting paid what I feel I'm worth. And they're making fat profits. That's discouraging. And it dawned on me, look around in your workplace. Mental. And I'm not the only one who suffers this. Every woman, every man listening to me, you got your own stories of mental in the workplace. And it really hits you when you finally wake up and realize your boss doesn't give a shit about you. Management. The only time they'll get on something that bothers you is if it bothers them. For example, if a woman comes in and complains about something that a guy's doing, the company's going to think we could be sued. We're going to deal with it. If an ethnicity complains about something, we could be sued. We're going to deal with it. But if it's just me, Mike, that's just the way it is. You got to know how to take them. Yeah, can I do this the next time he comes up to me? Are you going to punish me? I say you got to learn how to take me. You keep fucking with me, you're going to see this. In fact, I'll put on full-way flashers, turn signals. Let's see, left, right. I mean, I'm a Christian. And I wish that I was so perfect that didn't come to mind. But God's heating me up and that crab's floating to the top. But when you have somebody pushing your buttons, game over, Christian or not. I'm so tired of this. Well, you got to turn the other cheek. You got to show Jesus. You got to show Jesus by paying us more money. You got to show Jesus by saying, you know what? I know you're crusty crab, but you got to stop doing that to everybody. You talk about being professional. Well, then be professional. My supervisor asked me to give a pit ticket. I said, I can go get these. No, have him do. I said, he's going to whine. Well, he's going to whine. I said, no. I said, you don't understand. I mentioned a name of somebody in another department. I said, he told me that he thinks I'm a PUSSY because I won't climb up in those trailers and get it. Even though what he doesn't realize, I've climbed up in trailers to get things. But if there's 8-foot tall things at the back of the semi-trailer, how am I supposed to get from that to the nose when it's 150 degrees in there and there's snakes and stuff? No, not doing it. I can't move that stuff and get through there, and you're going to lift some heavy thing, and you can't. I swear. And I told my supervisor yesterday, I'm not climbing all the way up to I and J. I said, look at these aisles. You can't get a scissors lift. I'm not climbing anymore. This place is not worth me splattering on a truck differential or radiator parts or the cement just to get my job done. And he said, I wouldn't want you to do that. I said, well, then somebody needs to get off their butt and get this shit out of the aisles. It's bad, and everybody just keeps dumping it in here. And I'm going to, every time I get these things, I'm going to say, can't get it. Climbing 30 feet in the air up the front of ProMaids is not safe. I slipped the other day just being 5 feet up. Imagine dropping 30. At 6 feet, you could have a head injury that could cause death. And people say, all you do is complain about stuff. I talk about everything, good and bad. I'm saying that even in America with OSHA laws and anti-discrimination laws and don't create a hostile work environment, all of those are bullshit. Now, you go work at something like Costco or something, man, it's rigid. You use the stand-up lift, you got to have people blocking the aisle off with these guards, and all right, and you got to lift at a certain speed. You can only go so fast. I mean, micromanaged to hell. Woo, baby. Workplaces do not encourage free spirits like me. They want to get their chokehold. I hate that. But you got to have common sense. I had to go ask the foreman, I need to get a forklift because I got to get stuff out of D or out of one of the containers. Well, they're using them right now. I said, can I use a telehandler? Nope, only Dave is. Didn't they get broken because of him? And then somebody blew out the hydraulics on the case. I said, yeah, he doesn't work here anymore. Did I ever do that? And now he's got new guys in there that have no forklift experience getting on and driving them like cowboys. And he came in with his son dangling off the telehandler. And he came out to me, I had the forks up a little bit because there's divots in the pavement. If they're down too low, it'll hit it. He screamed at me. I said, man, dude, I don't have the forks 4 feet up in the air and I'm out hauling butt through here. You ever notice that? Certain people are violating the rules. Management won't say a word. I'm being cautious and it coming a chipping. Why does this happen every place that I've seen here at Augusta? Why did I get called in the office over and over at transportation? And I hadn't done anything wrong. And I finally said, why are you guys picking at me? Do you see what's going on out there? And they tell me, well, we want to make you better. Oh, okay. I'm not doing anything that's a violation. Leadership that isn't leaders, they won't deal with the guys that they have to confront. They take the safe route and pick at the good employees every place, all the time. Why? Because American workplace sucks. I do not endorse what happened down in Ontario. Some jackass filmed himself setting all the toilet paper loaded up pallets on fire at Kimberly-Clark. Apparently people had asked for a raise and they said no. That guy was an idiot. They should let him rot in jail for life. He's lucky nobody was burned in there. 175 firefighters to fight that blaze. That place was huge. Burned to the ground. Nice job, buddy. Now all your coworkers don't have a job to go to. And California is expensive as hell. Nice job. Thanks for being selfish, idiot. I wouldn't support that anywhere. You're that angry, it's time to go. And you got a young generation, when they don't like something being said, the people that think like that should not be allowed to have freedom and walk the streets. Charlie Kirk died at a terrorist, a disturbed 20-something-year-old terrorist who got butthurt because he wants to believe he's dating a girl who is actually a boy and he's gay, and he got angry because Charlie said that, homosexuality isn't right and the trans thing. Man, if you believe it's so right, then who cares, right? But you got to kill somebody. Gen Z, the millennials, not all, but most, are liability to America. Liability, non-productive. The workplace today is a joke. If you work at Kimberly-Clark here or Kellogg's or any number of the plants here, who's the idiot in a suit and tie that came up with shift rotation? Why don't you let people that are good for mornings take those shifts? Because Augusta is night people. I've noticed that all my life. I work for a living, and you go home to sleep and all the clowns come out when it's bedtime for working class people, and all through the streets. And they need to do population thinning with people like that. They're not a good neighbor, and they don't need to be there like State Farm. They need to be removed from society. And you got companies that you're going to work 12. Why don't you let me work 8 hours, 40 hours a week, and let me take days? But no, we got to screw with people's biology and their sleep rhythm, and we got to make them a slave. But Mike, you work 4 12s and you get 3 days off. 48 hours, okay. But by the time I get 3 days off, when I get home at night, do I even have time for dinner to let it digest and I got to get my butt up again? That's no way to live at 60. No thanks. Man, the companies have become slave oppressors. Amazon, one of the worst models out there. You can apply, you can quit, you can reapply. You don't have to give 2 weeks. But they're not encouraging longevity. They don't care. They're burning through humans like a mill. Amazon sucks. And you know what drives that company? Americans' greed for have it right now. Mail it to my house. Okay, so you get all this crap mailed to your house, but you're still clogging up the streets with cars. What is going on? There should be less traffic. It's sick. Consumerism is destroying our country. Banks are profiting off of your lust to show off that new Silverado or SUV or Mercedes. Oh, get in debt. It's almost ironic that most people in customer service positions today in America suck. They crap. They have no customer service skills. None. You go to most workplaces, you got boobs at the front counter. Can I help you? Not really. I'm here for a doctor's appointment. They always say on the text, be 10 minutes earlier or 15 minutes. Watch this. This is what's happened to me. Your name, please? Well, Michael, you're 10 minutes early. Yeah, I was told to do that, ma'am. I start using tone. Yes, ma'am, I was told to do that. Should I show you the text? That won't be necessary, but you are early. B-word, did you hear what I said? This country is a mental health facility and there's no health. I'm the one that's suffering, not the mental patients. You read me? You got me? I don't care if you don't like the way I dress. I don't care. But I'm talking about mental behavior in the workplace. It's got to stop. CEOs and corporate goons and management that doesn't deal with toxic people. Well, he does a lot of work for us. Well, I could do a lot of work and I won't treat people like that. Why don't you put me in this position? Nobody would want me as a leader. I'll treat the workplace the same way I treat my house. Clean it! No mice, no rats, no cockroaches, no dust bunnies. Clean it. Clean house. You got an attitude. Goodbye. You are the weakest link. You are a turd in this department and you don't do anything. Goodbye. Do not pass go. Go out the door. You're fired. With the worst people, you got to handle them with kid gloves. With the best people, my feelings are hurt, my dignity's stripped, and I got no rights. That is 2026 America. So keep drinking the Kool-Aid, boys and girls. MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. Maggots. That's what we got. Maggots. I voted for Trump. No regrets. But I'm man enough to say he's failing. Read Ezekiel 38 and 39 about Iran, Persia, Russia, Turkey, all coming against Israel. You're not going to solve the problem of Iran. Your ass handed to you because Iran's not going to back down. Russia and China are giving them weapons. Russia and China are buying their oil. Trump, you done blew it. And you just hurt us for the midterms. You selfish son of a gun. That's not the way to run a country. I don't like Islam. I don't like the terrorism. You wait until they do something directly to us and we deal with it. You wanted oil, just like Bush and Cheney did. Sick of it. I thought we were going to drill, baby, drill. You're drilling Americans' wallets is what you're doing. And to you hateful Republicans that don't like what I say, get the hell off of my channel. I have a dream that people will come to my channel, irregardless of color, social standing, or politics, and come to hear the truth. That's a lost art in this country. Are you gay? Are you straight? Are you Christian? Are you not? Do you wear LL Bean, Land's End, or Capri's? This country's so stupid. We're divided amongst products that we buy. Some people look like a frickin' advertisement for Nike, Land's End, North Face. The North Face people scare me. They buy Subarus and they got the kayak rack on their Subaru. And Land's End and LL Bean stuff. They get out their Birkenstocks and they're the worst drivers on the road. I'm going to go kayaking. I'm going to save the environment. I'm going to buy a Subaru. Okay, bye. Y'all tired of that? I am. Save the environment, huh? Democrats aren't doing a better job of that. You know how I know that? Look at the union companies up on the Great Lakes. Look at Lake Erie. Remember, unions typically vote Democrat. They polluted the hell out of Lake Erie. Everything the Democrats touch gets ruined. Post office, Amtrak. Yep, let's have the government get involved in this. Put your head between your knees and kiss your arse goodbye. Every time. Every time. Look at UPS and FedEx, private sector. Wow, they run like an efficient machine without the government. Today's workplace is a slave operation. It's a sweat house. It's a joke. These manufacturers, I'm glad I've experienced this. The warehouses, they burn you up, spit you out, all for the sake of profit. If any of you were to see me, you'd see that I don't play. I don't stand around and talk. I'm going. They should be paying me at least $3 an hour more. At the minimum. No. My raise is dependent on if the supervisor likes me a lot or not and gives me a high review. That's scary. People are fickle. You can do 110% and even come in with a good attitude, but you're not favored. By the way, did y'all notice something? It doesn't matter that there's laws against discrimination. It doesn't matter that you're not supposed to tolerate harassment in the workplace. It still freaking goes on all across this country. The government does it. Private business does it. Because you can't prove it. You can write things down. You can document it. You can do all this. It all depends on whether management's going to do something about it. And if it doesn't bother them, every place I worked as a school bus driver, they had a rule about keeping your bus clean. Put up your windows every day because it could rain that night. Sweep the bus daily. You get paid for that. Fuel the bus, empty the trash. Most places I work, you have what I call the pig drivers. They ride dirty. They'll use my bus for a weekend trip, trash it. I come in on Monday because I left it Friday, and I'm like, really? Windows are down, seats are wet with rain. And I've gone in and complained. Nothing happens to the driver. What I should have done is walked across and said, did you use my bus? Yeah. What the hell? What is your damn problem? You're a grown woman. You used my bus for a trip and you left it like this? What would you do if I did that to your car and your house? Dumb ASS. And that's people today. Adults don't give a shit about nobody. Everything I need to know about life I learned in kindergarten. This country's full of a bunch of adult children that never grew up. And I saw it from district to district to bus company. The major offenders kept doing it and doing it. You go tell management. One day management said, and it wasn't me. I'm getting tired of these drivers coming in bitching about me letting their bus be used on a weekend trip. Well, the reason they're bitching about it is because, why? Because they're coming back being dirtied up and mess. Nobody wants to come to work Monday when they had it all clean and dash dust and everything ready for Monday, and they come in and see that. It's demoralizing. Again, management doesn't care unless it bothers them. And that's every job, whether they're Christian or not. You are not valued unless you're sucking somebody's pee-pee, male or female. You are not valued unless you're being exploited by them and you're fluffing somebody's balls. I have nowhere to go. I don't have rights in this country. They're being eroded. I only have one place to go. To the throne of the Most High. I always remember in Scripture when it says, but God. And He's not a but God. When you see that, all this was going on over here, but God says that's going to change. God is not corporate. God does not favor CEOs. God doesn't favor hot-looking women. God doesn't favor LeBron and celebs and sports and rappers. What does God favor? His children from all around the world. We have favor with God because we've submitted to the grace of God and we got saved. And he hears us when we cry. Because we see things go on the way they go on in our culture here, we think that nothing's ever going to happen to these people. That's a lie. Don't base what you see on the fairness of God. Because when they breathe their last, game over. And they're going to be given an account for everything. All of us will be. How's your report card looking, kiddo? There's a couple of report cards. One is the pass or fail report card. If you're not saved, that's an F. Goodbye. But God will still review your works as an unbeliever. It'll be like reading off the statutes. You violated this one, this one, this one, this one. It's interesting in the Bible, Jesus said, many will say, did we not cast out demons, heal, all this yada yada? He'll say, depart from me, I never knew you. Notice something there. These are people bragging about their works. True Christians don't brag. Those of us that are Christian ask, what did I do for you? I struggle with my flesh. I struggle just to survive. Jesus said, but Michael, you gave a cup of cold water. Somebody, you did this, you did that. People bragging about their righteousness are lost. Hello? Can you hear me now? Justice delayed is not justice denied. You know what's sad is I could go through worse. I could be martyred for my faith. And I complain about what I'm going through because it sucks. I want an easier life. I want more pay. I want to be treated with respect. And I have to stop and step outside of my own flesh and say, didn't Jesus want that? Spent 3 years with his disciples intimately. The night of the crucifixion, they fled like mice. The woman said, you were with him. Ma'am, I don't know what you're talking about. He had just that week said, I will never deny you. And Jesus said, verily, verily, before the rooster crows 3 times. And the only time Peter woke up is the 3rd time when the rooster went, ah, ah, ah. And Jesus, after he was resurrected, said, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? He confronted Peter head on. Jesus was crucified and he did no wrong. We talk about fairness in the workplace. Was it fair for the eternal, perfect God to be crucified? What did he do? He was God and he told the truth, and Satan exists. And the power leaders in the religious community did not like Jesus. They didn't realize or believe or want to believe he was the Messiah. Are we to expect any less for ourselves? But I argued yesterday, I said, okay, God, I'm not trying to minimize the crucifixion, but you did it in the space of a day. I've been suffering my whole dang life. You're in glory on your throne. Sounds like a reasonable argument, right? You notice how that's in all of us? Questioning fairness. But here's the problem. We're talking about God, who made a system of fair and righteous, not me. He did. Is the suffering I experience going to show up in the rewards that I get to lay at Christ's feet in heaven? I don't know. I don't know. I want to thank everybody for watching because this is real stuff. This is where the rubber meets the road. How do I show the love of Jesus to people that are just horrible? I don't love Dave. I don't love Joe. Joe's supposedly a brother. I want to hear the cartoon sound of psh, tie your shoes, Skippy. But it's not happening. I've experienced hatred and hostility from the family that adopted me. Every job I've had, you got those idiots. It's like, who hired this numbskull? Why is this person working here? There's a picture. It's a cartoon. It showed God in his laboratory and it showed Earth. And he had various seasoning shakers. And one said people. And he sprinkled on the earth. And the next frame shows him grinning. And he's got a seasoning shaker that says idiots. He goes, let's see what happens. Boy, did he do that. Did he do that? And God is not responsible for the actions of people. But guess what? I'm man enough to admit something, are you? I'm a little bit mental. I'm different. I'm content in my own skin. But when I get out there, I start to go, you know what? I'm not doing so bad. These people are really deceived because they're acting terrible and they don't even see it. I'm not taking a riding lawnmower and going through Target and busting things. I didn't drive a school bus and slam into a railroad trestle bridge. I didn't take a Ryder truck and detonate a federal building in Oklahoma. My sin? I drag my carcass to work every day when everything in me wants to say, oh, God. I mean, if God blessed me with a big deposit in my bank after taxes, you think you see me dancing now? I'm going to walk into work and I'm going to go, well, peeps, it's been real and it's been fun. It has been real fun. I just wanted to say to everybody, you're an ass. You're an ass. And I'm officially terminating myself. Mr. President, thank you for the job here. My services are no longer needed. I thank you for having a vote of confidence. My supervisor, thank you. So some of you that were positive, thank you for your kindness. That guy there should be fired and that guy there should be fired. Just saying. Gotta go. Nope. It doesn't work out like a Hollywood movie, does it? It never does. King David prayed in the Psalms, why do the wicked prosper? Why? Satan doesn't bother them, that's why. A whole bunch of movies were made of Hollywood, Poltergeist and all this demonic stuff, The Exorcist. I got news for you. Satan doesn't play with what he already owns. He gets to me and you by them having never struggled, doing well. I'm doing well. Making big money, having showy cars and acting like a turd and nothing happens. That's how Satan afflicts the people of God. So that we go back to God and say, Well, God, you don't care about us. The devil's a liar because we're conditioned to think it's only right here on this orb called Earth. It isn't. The people that got it good now are going to hell. Always remember that. All that desire to live godly in Christ Jesus shall suffer persecution. The Bible talks about chastening. Oh, we like that word, right? We talk about children. Oh, that person needs a spanking. So do you, so do I. And that's why God administers the Board of Education to our butts constantly. He chastens us because we're his children. Chastening is correction. We're all in a correctional facility with God. That world out there, they're a bunch of bumbling idiots. Bragging, boasting, acting like idiots on the road, at the polls, Republican, Democrat, because they're godless clowns. That's it. That's it. And every time I give a message to you out there, wow, do I get belly whipped, smacked by it. The devil wants us to doubt him and his goodness. God is not the problem. Our unbelief is. Let me show you something. I'm hot, so I'm stripping my shirt off. I'm going to tell you something. And we're going to put it in perspective to those that have never seen this before. Where is it? Where did I put my tiny itsy bitsy Bible? There we go. The pastor that gave me this has passed away. I attended briefly an Assembly of God during COVID when churches were shut down. And he handed everybody in the church on a Sunday morning. Jesus said, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, be uprooted and thrown into the sea. And you got these modern witch doctor Christians, these women, especially feelings-based, people who believe that they have a right to wealth and prosperity and health. Those are another cluster of clowns that they got saved, but they're in diapers and they never grew up. And they're a bunch of toddlers asking for binkies and sippy cups instead of growing up for Jesus. And this here, Jesus said, if you have faith, yes, my thumb is deformed. That was from a factory. Coronado Technology, Prescott, Arizona. That much. I love it when y'all boast and brag. All y'all Americans, oh, I've got guns. I got my 12. I'm stronger than you, Michael. I could tear you up. You don't even have this. You have LPS, little penis syndrome. People who have little penis syndrome suffer from an excruciatingly oversized ego to compensate for the insecurity of what lies between their legs. That's why you play your boom boom blacks and whites. That's why you get lift kits. You drive your little throne. You got your hand draped over the wheel because you suffer from LPS. Do you suffer from LPS? The need to show off, to get attention, even from other men. When you're driving by somebody's house and you see a male raking his yard and he's got his back to you, do you feel the need to get him to turn around because your ego is so fragile? You may be suffering from LPS. We're sorry. We don't have something called penis enlargement, but we can get you to get therapy, to accept the body God gave you, and get over yourself. I like to talk about these issues, Christian and non, because I had people years ago on my channel I wish you wouldn't talk about God. You say great things. Oh, so I'm supposed to compartmentalize my faith. My faith is part of me because I'm God's child. I don't have the right to shut a door that says, God, you're there. I'm blocking it. God's going to laugh and say, I own you, boy. I got you with a price. You don't compartmentalize me. Boo. Get it straight. God is sovereign over his children. And God is fully capable. Somebody could call, somebody could run into me, somebody could be ordering parts and just simply see, and God just lays it on their heart. Who's that guy over there? Oh, that's Mike. That guy's working his butt off. And every time I come in here, he's working his butt off. Can I talk to him for a minute? Mike, I shouldn't do this but this is when you get off work, give me a call tonight. Yes, sir. If God wants to move me, he can. Well, you should apply for what? Crap, and more crap. Let's go work 12 hours and 48-hour shifts and get 3 days off. And then let's turn it upside down. And then you got to come in at midnight. And then you got to come in at 3 a.m. No, thanks. At least I know the poison that I'm dealing with. Sometimes it's better to stay in one poison cauldron instead of jumping into another. You move when God says move. We Americans are at a disadvantage because of our freedom. When things get uncomfortable or somebody says something that offends us, we're not going to take that. It is so hard to submit to this. When God releases you, the exodus is sweet. Not before. If you quit the class he's enrolled you in, your life is going to continue to go bad until you submit to the class for the full semester. You got me? You got me now? People say, sell your house and move. Where? Where can I buy a house this size for what I paid for this anywhere else north? You can't even buy a glorified tough shed for what I paid for this house up north. You move when God says move, not before. And American Christianity is at a great disadvantage because we think it's all about us. Look at Beth Moore. She wrote a book, It's Not About You. Fake dyed blonde hair, worth millions of dollars, charges extreme amounts of money to go to her little seminars. I do not permit a woman to teach or have authority over men. Christians making money off ministry. Tisk, tisk. What a shame. There are churches out there that should not be tax exempt at all. Joel Osteen, Paula White, Joyce Myers, T.D. Jakes, all them clowns. Tax the hell out of them. They're making nothing but profit. They're not doing ministry. I've lived long enough as a Christian. I'm here to tell you the churches that have the most impact on me were not these big mega churches that pulling in big money. They were them small little tiny churches with a humble pastor who taught the truth Sunday after Sunday, visited the shut-ins, ministered to the people in his congregation, and nobody outside that area knows who they are or cares. There are churches in this country that are tiny, But if they're doing what God says, they're that. We measure things by success. We measure things by wardrobes, automobiles, house sizes, bank accounts. Americans don't weigh things the way God does. Joni Eareckson Tada was a woman. I have respect for her, and I've never met her. I read her story. She was in a lake swimming and hit a rock, paralyzed from here down. She can't have sex. She can't use her arms. She can't wash herself. She went through hell. They put her in something like a device where she's in a frame and upside down. And back then, they didn't know how to, trying to find a way to reverse paralysis, whatever. She hadn't bathed. She couldn't bathe. Her friends, her girlfriends came in and saw her, screamed and ran out of the room and never spoke to her again. That's the world we live in. Joni was a pretty lady. That woman has been used more from a wheelchair than I or anybody I know with all their physical faculties intact. You know why? Because God is awesome. And God chooses the base things of this world to confound the wise, not the braggadocio, not the idiot screaming for attention up and down the neighborhood in his little twuck or his Crown Vic going, boom, boom, I have a small penis, boom, and I want everybody to know it. God is glorified in us. He chose the foolish things of this world. Let the people come on my channel and say, you need help. You darn right. And you ain't going to give it. It comes from God. Shut your mouth. Go continue worshiping Satan if you're not going to get saved. Leave me alone. God chose the foolish things in this world to confound the wise. Our society looks at Bill Gates. Oh, he's financially successful. Yeah, George Soros has got it together too, right? But he's a devil. Bill Gates is a devil. Mark Zuckerberg had better turn to Christ because he's going to the devil. Every one of these social media companies are owned by people that are not saved. Elon Musk is not saved. Donald Trump is not saved. Bill Clinton, Kamala Harris, they don't know Jesus. So we need to stop rating all these people on a nothing burger. They're lost souls and they're all going to hell. Snoop Dogg, Cardi B, Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, all of them. Going, yeah, flush, whoosh, welcome to the lake of fire. You're not going to roar, Katie. You're going to hear weeping and gnashing of teeth. You better get it straight. You had your heaven on earth. Life went easy for you because Satan doesn't mess with those that are already in his hand. But when you transfer yourself from the hand of the devil into the hand of God, the devil's going to go ding, 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 every day. Every day. He hates God. He hates his people. He hates his people. Satan doesn't haunt buildings. So tired of listening to that. Some women are going back and forth on my channel one day. No, he does not haunt buildings and ships and elevators. They harass souls. They possess people that are already unsaved. And every time you all keep encouraging drug use, you open the door for the devil to come in, because when you are under the influence of a controlled substance, it becomes sorceries. And you've relinquished control of yourself, thereby allowing Satan to inhabit your soul. Demonic possession is real. I've seen it. 2 people in my life. I have seen it. We'll talk about that another time. People in 2026, Mike, come on. We don't believe in that stuff. Yep, and you're the same person that says, I'm doing well. Why is that? Because it is going well. You're screwing the pooch, you're kissing the corporate ass, and you're making all this money, and you got this trophy wife. She's not happy with you either. She just likes dipping in your ATM account. It's all a bunch of glitter and glamour. It's all a lie. The working class always gets the short end of the stick. Look at the way they talked about Jesus. Is this not the son of the carpenter? They were looking at them with disdain. They're just peasants, man. Who's this guy? Who's that's the everlasting God? The what? God. That ain't God. You want to bet, boo-boo? Fortune 500 companies forget that. Most Americans forget that. I'm God because I bought gay pimpy rims for my Crown Vic and I play shitty music all day. I'm God. I have boobies. I'm a goddess. I see it all on social media. Social media is a temple for God complex and deity complex people. It absolutely is. Women say, you don't know me. Yeah, I do. I've seen what you post. Well, that doesn't mean you know me. You love and worship dogs. You love and worship SUVs. You love and worship Netflix and Starbucks. I know you. There's more to me. No, there isn't. Yes, there is. No, there isn't. You're owned by the corporate world. You're a cookie cutter. Have you ever watched Factories? Most women today, most people today, stamp, 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 stamp. Keep those conveyors rolling. Put it in a box. Put it in a box. How do I know that? Because when they come on my channel, those stamped people that are godless anyway, or even Christians that haven't matured, they come on here and go, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with him. Yeah, I'm not like you. And so now you got to do a clinical diagnostic analysis of me, even though you're not a certified clinic person. You see, the Word of God gives me the ability to discern the Holy Spirit when you're saved. And I can look and got my finger on the pulse. Aneurysm. We got an aneurysm in this country. We're not going to make America great. Who are you fooling? Have you read the Word of God? Where does it say in there we're going to make America great? That's a nice little lie to get on board with. We need to make America saved again. That ain't going to happen. Folks, it's time to wake up. The bathtub plug has been pulled. The whirlpool has happened. The only way you can prepare, get saved. Follow the life God has for you. It ain't going to be comfy. It ain't going to be cushy. You'll have good days. You'll have a lot of bad ones. God gives you the tools to fix you. And you're not going to be perfect. There are Christians that teach sinless perfection. That's not even reality. Sinless perfection will be realized when you are finally in the presence of the Almighty in heaven. We're not going to make it happen. It says, walk in the Spirit that you fulfill not the lust of the flesh. I'd like to know anybody that can walk in the Spirit every day. Go to my job and see if you can walk in the Spirit. It's God tests us, and we think that it's always about passing the test. Sometimes He tests us to show us, God, I can't do this. I can't love this guy. And God says, good, you finally acknowledge that. Now I can work on you. People think that they got to follow this list of do's and don'ts. Just allow God to show you what's in your heart. Start with that. And those Christians that walk around making it look like being a godly Christian is so easy, run. They're probably sitting on fat bank accounts, enjoying their cup of coffee all day. They don't live in the real world. The world, the workplace, it ain't your friend. There's automatically a curse given in Genesis to us working. You throw in a bunch of idiots in there, makes it even worse. My glasses slide down my nose. It's so humid and sweaty. And I'm like, great, we got 5 months of this shitty weather. I'm 60. I don't know how long I'm going to last doing that. It's unglorifying work. Bible says, do not worry about tomorrow. Period, on anything. Go to work, obey God. We don't need to wrestle and struggle and manipulate. Walk one day at a time, and God will direct your path. The day may come when God says, God can send a buyer. Mr. Nelson, I don't know if you're interested in selling, but I really want this house, and I'll pay a handsome price in closing. Well, we have to go through an attorney because I don't know if you're legit. Yeah, we can do that. I would take that as a sign that God's saying, get your butt and go. But it's so much better to submit to God and let him lead us out. I've ran all my life and I've learned something. Stop running. Submit to God. Let God lead you out. People act like everything depends on us. Which God do you believe in? Yourself? We can only do so much. I don't know what the final views is today, but we had some sustained 330-something views at a time here. Thanks for watching. Some of you that don't know me, you see my shorts and think, what's the matter with this guy? It's a good question. What is wrong with me? You tell me. I'm different. I'm not ashamed of that. My videos may shock your senses because I dress interesting. But if you listen to my rants, you'll clearly see that my brain is fully operational. I'm 60 and I'm proud of my body. I haven't aged like most 60-year-old men. Most 60-year-old men don't look like this. In fact, that's another problem I have in a society. Got a guy 2 years older than me. He's got major issues. He don't look like a young anything. He's a bitter old coot. I go to church with people in their 60s. I've been blessed. And I say, God, I'm sorry I've taken it for granted, but I want to be used my remaining years on this earth to bring you glory. Because I've chased after my own. I've chased after so many women all my life. And guess what? At the end of the day, there's nothing. Pursuing God is far better than pursuing a woman, a car. God allowed me to have a house 6 years later, and he's blessed me. But can I be honest? As a Christian, from a God perspective, not the engineers in our society, I like the idea of you'll own nothing and be happy. That's awesome. No mortgages, no taxes, no maintenance. Heaven. You'll own none of it, but it'll be available for you. Where's our values, folks? Apartment, shoot. If apartment rent was $250 a month for a quiet old world apartment in a small town, I will go. because I can take any decent job and just make it work. But rent is $2,500 a month, and you got to deal with and yelling and screaming and gunshots. I'm glad I own my house, but guess what? There's a lot of struggle with it. Got to do this, got to get Terminix, got to get this, got to fix that. Man, this house has been a struggle just to get it back up. And then when a preacher comes in Wednesday at the company lunch and says, everything you own right now will not be here in 100 years. Think about it. I just add another 50 years of life to this house, but watch this. This house will not be here in 50 years. Will America even be here in 100? Will the church even be here in 2 years? Perspective starts to change real quick. What are we working for? What are we a slave to? Lost my damn mind over a truck purchase. X amount of money later, abandoned a truck in a small town. Wow, that was dumb. The guy was a liar that sold it. A complete liar. I will never buy another truck again like that. I'm done. And I've noticed something else as I close out this video. Because I don't live off the government's money. I live off God's provision in the form of a man shall work by the sweat of his brow, and I sweat daily. And I don't like this, but it beats being a damn bum, mooching, smoking pot, buying Crown Vics with pimpy rims and disturbing all your neighbors while you live on EBT. At least it gives me dignity and pride that my God shall supply my needs. And yeah, life is hard because we sinned in the garden and God put a curse to work. That's part of the rite of passage for being a man. You move out from mommy and you get it together. And then you start to see God move. I get wags and clowns on here, including relatives that leave their stupid, crappy comments. God has me in his hand, not you. I had a good friend. He was a moderator here. Poof. I'm like, wow, God, what happened? I don't know. To this day, I don't know. I will never know. But guess what? Maybe he got nervous. Maybe his friends at work who saw him watching my video thought, are you gay? Look at the way this guy dresses. Don't worry, I'm not gay. Men are gross. Their hair is sweaty and gross. I couldn't have a love relationship with that. I'd like to have a girlfriend, but that's like trying to find a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That doesn't exist. God is just ripping everything out of my life. I wanted a truck. I abandoned it in a small town. I had a good friend. That's gone. And it's like God has really backed me into a railroad siding somewhere. I mean, a railroad siding with all these rotting cabooses, and there's an old water tower that's dripping rusty water, and I'm just sitting there going, God, what am I doing here? There's nothing going on. And God's up there going, want to bet? You're on a layover, pal. He's showing me something. Time to eat a slice of pepper jack cheese. Some leftover corned beef hash. It looks just like Alpo. I opened the can. I was going to do a live, and I decided not to live last night. Talked to a friend from my channel. Sometimes it's just good to reach out to a person direct. And I looked at this friend and I said, we're all misfits, aren't we? She nodded. She goes, we are. I said, it's better down here, huh? Because we have nothing to be uppity about. People get a little money, they get a good looking wife, they get a car that they didn't manufacture make, and they think, oh, really? As if. I thank God that I'm free from that. Life is hard. But I don't want to be like old Dave or old Crusty Joe, schmoozing buttholes and being rude to me for no reason. People say he's jealous. I don't know if he's jealous of me, but I sure don't envy him on any level. He's not Christian behavior and action, not even a little bit. I just thought I'd share my struggle with you. That I go to work and sometimes I get mad and I say, you know what? And faith is not something to manipulate things to your pleasure. God gives you faith when he calls you to do something. Not so you can buy Lear jets and hoopties and brag. Faith is for his glory, not for yours. Don't listen to these damn women. Well, I date you, but you got to think and grow rich. I won't date you and I won't mate you because you are perverting the word of God, who think that godliness is a means to great gain. That is not okay. Our citizenship is in heaven. Lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven where moth and rust doth not corrupt. And I'll be danged. I've been alone for a long time and a pretty woman want to sit next to me with her legs crossed and her smooth legs and I'm feeling all my manhood. And then she want to tell me that. God help me to be wise. She exposed herself in 3 hours of text. Thank you, God, for showing me that she believes lies and for avoiding any involvement with her. You think you're going to find a man? You're going to be in another bad relationship because, first of all, you have a wrong belief about us, men. I don't play games to get a woman. I need a woman who believes the truth. I don't need a woman to nag and badger me. I need a woman where we're two draft horses and we look at each other and nod and we're pulling that stagecoach or that wagon. And when God says, yeah, we both go in the same direction together. To find a woman like that, for me, hasn't happened ever. I'm 60. They're just not running loose out there. I have to accept, whether I like it or not, what it is, man. What it is. That's what they say. What it is, Michael. I don't know what it was. All this vernacular out here kills me. You doing all right? You doing all right? You doing all right? That's what they do. I'm doing all right. You doing all right? Crazy slanguage. Yes, life is fun. If life's a bowl of cherries, why am I always in the pits? Why does God put me next to a Christian brother where we could have fellowship sweet and he's being an ass every day, rude, unfriendly, and acts like a child and actually believes that he's superior to everybody? And he lives in Hephzibah. I've never met a star from Hephzibah or Augusta. Everybody brags about James Brown. He was actually from Carolina and called Augusta his home. And his last hurrah was a high-speed chase with the police. So he wasn't an upstanding citizen. Got to get on up. We idolize stars for what? They don't have Senate poop. They have a candy called snowman poop. I saw it at the store one day, little white poofy things. Wow. I never thought you could have snowman poop. Does it taste like snow? Thanks for listening. God is doing something in my life to put it back to you. And this is good because the likes are awesome and encouraging, because I admit it, some days I too want to quit. Sometimes I just want to say, you know what, there's so much bullshit going on in here. This needs to be a manure factory. I'm done. I can't deal with y'all. But I can't. Start looking at God as your father and as your boss. And that changes the dynamic. Because you can go to him. You can bring your complaint to his department. Your management will do nothing with it, but God the Father is not that. He cares for you. He may not solve your problems. He may not come down and go, oh, it's going to be okay. He doesn't do that. He might have brought me there to bring judgment against some people. He might have brought me there to test them. He may stand before Joe one day and say, why have you treated my servant Michael like this? I am not pleased with you. You don't know what he's doing. Just like Job didn't know that Satan was over there saying, ha, Job only blessed you because you put a hedge around his life. That Job's just like that crusty Dave guy. The devil is a jackass. I can't wait till he's thrown in the lake of fire. I cannot wait. God, can I please lean over heaven and say, bye, Felicia. Woo! Bible says we will wonder when we see him. This is the one? See, people think the devil is this scary looking Baphomet thing. No, he's the most beautiful of all creation. And watch this. He was the leader of the music. And look at women and look at music. Those two things have led us deep into sin and strayed from the truth. Beauty and music. Music's the Pied Piper to hell. Beauty. Oh, she's so pretty. She's evil. Run. She's a Jezebel. There's some women that are plain Jane and got good hygiene that'll be a better wife to you than the Taj Mahal Kita. And you go after the Mahal Kita and she will bite you like a snake. We're stupid and Satan knows that. He knows the Word of God more than Christians. So read about the celebs, quote all your movies. Do you know the Word of God more than who was in the last movie? Shame on you. Go. Have a nice day. Be safe. If you're not saved, read the Gospel of John. Read the book of Genesis and get saved. Today is the day of salvation. Don't put it off. You have no guarantee tomorrow. Some clown can run a red light. Bam! Your life's over. Have a good day.